Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva bandhushcha sakha tvameva Tvameva vedya dravinam Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Jai. Yada sarvani bhutani pratibhanti stitani cha yatraivo pashamam yanti tasmai satyatmane namaha. So where are we in our text?
We're in chapter 22 on verse number 21, and it is page number 229.
You have it?
Yeah.
You help us out, please.
Shamabodhadya bhavehi pushpadhyairarchanam smritam. The worship with flowers and the like is laid down in the scriptures only in the absence of tranquility, perception, or knowledge and similar virtues.
So the idea here is it's not do devotional practices or practice self-inquiry first, then. So the Vedas enjoin us to do all sorts of ceremony, rituals in the early stages is to get stuff. We propitiate the various deities to improve our human existence. Later on, we mature, we just simply love God for the love of God. But as I think I may have mentioned this last week, Kena Upanishad, chapter 2, mantra 3. It is not that which you worship here. It is yourself. It is the self. But those of us who studied Tripura Rahasyam, so Parashurama, who's got a bit of a dull mind, he gets defeated in battle by Lord Ram, crushed, humiliated, passes by the road, sees Samvarta gives him the knowledge, and he goes, oh, doesn't get it. So Samvarta says, go down the road and talk to Dattatreya. So he goes, oh, Guruji, flowers, worship, worship, worship. So what does Dattatreya do for him at that point? Anybody remember?
Ask him to go worship the Devi for 12 years.
Yeah.
Yes. And he loves doing his worship. You know, I have students who come and, they're involved in devotional practices. They get very, very deep. They get high, they get Shakti from worshiping the deity. But then Parashurama says, but this is temporary. This is finite. This is transient. And I have some doubts. So then he goes back to Dattatreya, who sees now he's got a sattvic mind, chitta shuddhi, purity of mind. He's ready for the deeper knowledge. Now, for those of you who are speaking with other people about the spiritual life, Krishna gives us a very interesting instruction in Gita. He says the wise should not unsettle the minds of the ignorant with the truth. If you do, you consign them to a hell. If people are not ready for this work, just railing at them, can't you see, they're doing good. So we have to use our intuition and our understanding of the various levels of the path to be able to meet people where they are. And give them a suggestion, give them a practice that will be efficacious for where they are in their unfoldment. Any thoughts on this before we go on? Next verse.
Samvit Sarvakalatita Satta Samanya Rupini Mahasatta Matam Prapta Deva Shabdena Kathyate. Pure intelligence or consciousness, which is beyond all parts or fragmentation, and which is of the nature of the generality of existence, attaining to the nature of vast existence or the totality of being, is described by the word Deva or the deity.
Yes. So all the various murtis, the statues or paintings, be it Krishna or Lord Shiva or Jesus, or you go to the Sistine Chapel and you see Sky Daddy, the old man with the white beard, his finger. These are the disguises of the Lord. There's an interesting practice in the Eastern Orthodox tradition. First of all, you don't paint an icon, you write an icon. I have no idea why they say that. But for example, behind me here is an Eastern Orthodox icon of Jesus. It's not realistic. It's not meant to be realistic. And if you'll notice, its eyes are somewhat out of proportion. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. So the idea is you're supposed to look through the icon, gaze into its eyes. Maybe it will reveal something that's unknown, unseen, untalkaboutable, etc. The icon is only a thin veneer. And all the forms of God are only that. Now listen carefully. This is also the truth of every human being. That body, mind, intellect is only a thin veneer. If you look into someone's eyes, there's a conscious being looking out. Oh, get distracted by the equipment. It's not real. Next verse.
देशकालादिशक्तीनाम् उल्लासैवलिताक्रमात् जीव भूत्वा भवत्याशु बुद्धिपश्चादहं ततः मनस्त्वं समुपायाता संसारम् अवलम्बते. That pure consciousness, gradually moved by the splendor of the energies of space, time, and the like, having become the jiva, individual soul or individualized consciousness, soon becomes the buddhi or the intellect. Thereafter, it becomes the sense of I. Then, attaining to the state of the mind, it clings to worldly existence.
So here we're talking about a particular notion of spiritual anthropology, how this thing called a human being comes into existence. It's one of several that occurs, but in consciousness, that which appears to be the human being comes about by means of imagination. I again like to go back to the dream state. If you clearly understand the dream state, you understand this world. So in the dream, the first thing that happens is you go to sleep, which is the non-apprehension of yourself as the waker, avarana shakti, the veiling power. Then comes the vikshepa shakti. And patui, I then become a dream ego, identified with a dream body, with a dream mind that then has all these reactions to a dream world. So you can call this the descent of man as it's put forward in this verse. So read the English, if you would, one more time. We'll see these little pieces.
That pure consciousness, gradually moved by the splendor of the energies of space, time, and the like, having become the jiva, individual.
So the first thing that happens, nobody knows why. It's the inherent nature of consciousness. Here he says, moved by space and time, who knows? But a sense of an individual I is the first thought that happens when he says jiva. Now understand, the jiva is not a solid entity. It's really only a kind of thinking, an imagination. And the next idea?
Soon becomes the buddhi or the intellect.
Yes. So then we have the intellect, where thought happens, where honor and dishonor, how am I doing? What do they think of me? And after we get the intellect,
Thereafter, it becomes the sense of I.
and this is just one paradigm. My experience, I think all this happens pretty damn quickly. In the dream, it doesn't go chunk, 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 chunk. You're in the dream, and all of a sudden, I am the dreamer with the dream body. But the point is, the elements are, I have a dream body, I have a dream ego identified with it, I have dream thoughts, I have dream feelings, and I have a dream world out there. which is joy giving or misery producing. Going on.
Yam asmiti bhavena dehastha dukkhamashnute pushtam sankalpamatrena yadidam dukkhamagatam tatta sankalpamatrena shiyate natra sanshayah. This pure consciousness experiences sorrow, abiding in the body, due to the idea I am. This unhappiness that has come, nourished by mere imagination, is destroyed only by the absence of imagination or thought. There is no doubt in this matter.
Yes. So there's a wonderful Christian text called The Cloud of Unknowing. And in it, the author of The Cloud says, real sorrow is not only knowing what I am. Here he means our examination of conscience. We would say what our kleshas are, our defects, our defilements. But that I am. When all that I can reduce everything to is this lump of ego. That I exist, and that existence is inherently finite. I'm not enough, there's not enough. That lump of sorrow. Isn't that a wonderful way to look at it?
Yeah.
That's the idea that he's getting at here. And the only way out is to see that for what it is. Now, here the scripture says essentially the annihilation of the mind. We always interpret passages like that in two ways. The first is attaining to nirvikalpa samadhi. Nirvikalpa samadhi is that mind state where there's no mind. Here's the self, here's the mind, it's in the waking state, it's in the dream state, it's folded up in deep sleep, and the deepest meditation, it's gone. And when the mind returns, it goes, oh my gosh, there's nobody there. For most of us, we need to have a thinning of the mind in the space between your thoughts with the attentive faculty turned within. Can you see there's nobody there? No person there. But that's not the highest state. Returning from samadhi, then we have to see the self in and through all the objects of the world and see the fundamental unreality of all name and form, and listen carefully. That means my thoughts or any idea of self. The way to end the mind is to quit believing the mind. Earlier in the scripture, the sister reduces the mind to only three ideas. I think I'm a person, I have some goal, and I have to struggle toward it. So the flow of thought in and of itself is not problematic. The goal of the spiritual life is not some form of mental insensibility. No. Any thoughts on this? Did I hear one from you, Stephen?
No.
Okay. We always have to understand these two ways to look at a mind with no thought, or no mind, or the destruction of the mind. One can say nirvikalpa samadhi is another name for yourself. If all thought, perception, etc. is illusory, you can say, I'm not in nirvikalpa, I am nirvikalpa. Who here knows the Shankara hymn, Nirvana Shatakam?
Mhm.
The line in it is, Aham nirvikalpo. What does that mean?
I am there because of.
Yeah, not I'm in nirvikalpa, or I've attained nirvikalpa. What does it mean? My essential nature, is without any distinction of knower, knowing, and known. I am the knower, I'm the means of knowledge, I am that which is known, but not as an object. I am empty, no form, no nothing. I am nirvikalpa. All right, going on.
Swasankalpa nakalyushyam nirvaya chatmanatmanah param prasadamasādhya paramanandavan bhava. Warding off the turbidness of your own imagination by yourself, and having reached the highest clearness or serenity of the self, be supremely happy.
Yes. So in the beginning, there's a process. This is what we call jnana abhyasa, the practice of knowledge. This is essentially vairagya, that desire to give up attachment to all experiences gained through the senses and identification with any form of self, from the body up to and including the form of Brahma, the creator. If I think I'm a person, I'm deluded. Stop. Remember who you are. And one we've been working on with several of you. If the thought arises, oh, I think I may be getting close to being enlightened, maybe I have it or don't. Who is it who's having that stupid thought? Of the self. Don't try to be a knower of Brahman. Realize you are Brahman. Big difference. Leave the body, mind, intellect up to God. Going on.
Sarvashaktin ayohyatma sarvam asadayat yalam esha deva paraschaisha pujya esha sadasatam. The self is indeed full of powers or energies. He accomplishes everything thoroughly. He is the deity. He is also the highest. He is always worthy of worship by the wise or virtuous ones.
Oh, there's so many ways to approach this. So, if we go back to Mandukya Upanishad, and we have the exegesis on Om. First mantra says, Om, the world is all this. That which is beyond all this is verily Om. Om's divided into four quarters. Uma and silence. And then we look at microcosm and macrocosm. Microcosm, you have your own individual waking state reality. There is a universal waking state, Vaishwana. Ooh, you have a subtle body, which you run around in the dream state. There is a cosmic subtle body, Hiranyagarbha, which literally means the golden egg, the total mind. The deep sleep state, which is your individual vasana bundle. So whatever your proclivities are from day to day, they wear out, you get sleepy, you go to sleep, they all go into their seed form. That's total vasana. You don't wake up in the morning with the vasanas of your next door neighbor. Your life continues. Do you understand what I mean? Yes, no?
Yeah.
There is a cosmic, total vasana. And Mandukya calls it Ishvara, the Lord, which is the first thought, as it were, that waves out of universal consciousness. Because this incredible cosmos is organized, intelligent, operates according to law. You don't get up in the morning and all of a sudden somebody turned off gravity. I can turn the switch to turn on the light and it doesn't change tomorrow. The laws of physics stay. And if we deeply penetrate into the cosmos, we find some amazing things. First of all, the very name. Swamiji always used to say, it's not a chaos, it's a cosmos. But Carl Jung began to really get insight into this when he talked about synchronicity. There are connections. So, for example, most cultures have modes of divination. Who here's ever played with the I Ching?
Sure.
Yeah. Why does it work? It's because everything's connected. It's not cause and effect.
No.
It's synchronous. Who here's ever looked up their chart, their astrology chart? Anybody done that? Yeah. Do the planets cause things, or the same intelligence that's moving the planets moves human beings in certain directions? They're connected. This is this whole idea. There's a slogan, some people say that coincidence is God's way of being anonymous.
Mhm.
I have a dear friend, I just love her to death. And her kind of synchronous cue from the infinite is finding a feather. Now, you and I have feathers around us all the time, but we probably don't pay attention to feathers. That's not what our minds say is a sign from the infinite. But, oh, I found a feather today. But, what's going to happen? It's a sign from God for her. But everything is a sign from God. It's all connected. It all has meaning and purpose and import. It's all perfect. So the yogi begins to penetrate into the wonder and the beauty of the divine handiwork. You just look at a sunset. I call it the work of the mad painter. If an ordinary person painted a picture with a San Francisco sunset, oh, what a trashy painting. It's just so over the top. But that's God. Or walking through a redwood forest or a rose garden.
The rainbows like today.
Yeah, I didn't know we had. I haven't been out of the house all day. But for those who have eyes to see the phenomenal world is the greatest of all murtis. They're the form of God and divine law. Did you have a thought?
That was just beautiful what you're saying.
I didn't say it. Yoga Vasishtha did.
Well, you just interpreted it.
Yeah. But it's worthy to be adored and worshipped. Oh, such a wonderful state. All right, next one.
Section 3. Puja Krama, the method of worship. Pujanam dhyanamevanta nanyat astasya pujanam tasmat tribu vanadharam nityam dhyanena pujayet chidrupam suryalakshabham samastabhasa bhasanam. His worship is only meditation within. Nothing else is his worship. Therefore, let one worship him who is eternal, who is the support of the three worlds, who is of the nature of pure consciousness, who shines like 100,000 suns, and who illuminates all appearances by meditation.
Yes. So, puja means to worship, to perform a ritual. And again, East and West, we have all sorts of forms. You see people at Mass, at church. And who's ever been to Eucharistic adoration at a Catholic church? Even know what it is?
No.
No.
They have a thing called a monstrance. It's not a monster, it's a monstrance. This big gold thing, and oftentimes has sunbeams, and it's got a little doohickey in the middle. And you open up the doohickey, you put a consecrated host in it, close the door, put it there on an altar, and people adore Jesus in the form of the Eucharist. Very, very common form of adoration. You go to the temple. What I find interesting is sometimes a family will want a puja being done, so they pay the priest, and the priest is doing the puja. And what are they doing? Oh, they're off in the corner. How's your mother doing? Oh, has your daughter had children yet? They're just talking away while the priest is doing all the work. Have you guys ever seen that? It's just weird. It's weird. He's doing it for you and me. It happens in every religion. But it's a way to warm the heart, whatever way in which we can do adoration of the infinite. For many people, their higher power is nature. Walking through nature is the way in which they worship. That's great. But what this verse is talking about is what we call Atma Rama. Atma Ramana, excuse me. Reveling in the self, which is the highest meditation. Many of us, our meditation is nothing but you sit there and it's hard work and you keep bringing your mind back and all this crap comes up and then your back hurts and your knees hurt, and it's just torture for 40 minutes. God bless us. All of us have been through this. But if you keep at it, you'll see light. That's not it. You see darkness. That's not it. You hear voices. That's not it. You see forms. That's not it. You fall asleep. That's not it. But if you keep on, you find this place of thunderous silence. Where all the striving ceases. There's profound peace, profound repose. This is the swad, the taste of the rasa, the juice of Brahmananda, the bliss of the self. Why is this important? It's what I call the ruthless rule of the mind. When I say ruthless, it takes no prisoners. The ruthless rule of the mind is it will return to the experience that's given it the greatest joy. You may think God is the greatest good. You may read lots of spiritual books. But if your significant other is what really does it for you, or you really want financial security, that's what does it for you, or you really want to be a celebrity, maybe just in the sewing circle, your good is your God. That's what you're going to pursue. Now, I like to say, thank God, God is the most beloved, or we'd all be screwed. Because if you keep on keeping on with this Parama Prema, this supreme devotion, this Atmaramana, even if just once you get the swag, the taste, you want to go back there. And the very same passion of desire that drove the mind into the world now drives it inward.
Wow.
Any thoughts? So being Brahmanishta, being established in Brahman is when anytime you want, you just let go of the world. Silly little world. Trinkets and baubles. Not precious gems, pieces of broken colored glass. Not a fine pearl necklace, plastic pop beads. That's all it is. Jesus said, seek the pearl of great price. Our Vedanta scriptures say, seek the chintamani, the wish-fulfilling gem, which is yourself, which is real. Now, you either know the self or you don't. In that sense, it's like a zero. What do you get out of that? Nothing. But there's no end to how deeply the mind can revel in the self. Always new, always fresh. And for the jnani, deeper and deeper and deeper revelry in the self. No end. Next verse.
इच्छा दिशक्तय तस्य चिन्तनीया शरीरगाः अनन्त स पराधार सत्ताम् आत्रैक विग्रह विवर्ति तजगल्लाल कालोस्य द्वारपालकः. His powers, like will, should be contemplated as residing in the body. He is infinite, the supreme support of everything, one who has pure existence as his only form, and who has turned around or unfolded the web or net of the world.
Yeah.
Time is his gatekeeper.
The Jagat Jala, the web of the world. So the nature of the infinite, one of the three questions this book deals with. Who am I? What is this world? And the third one, how has it come about? By his will, sankalpena, by the intention, the mental intention of the infinite. Whose will is infinite, the potentiality for creativity is infinite. Now listen carefully. In the Hebrew scriptures, it says we are created in the image and likeness of God. Most people think that that means God has two arms, two legs, and a head, and probably he's white with a long beard. No. So here the scripture is said that the nature of God is to bring forth expression and creativity in abundance, with overabundance. How many stars are there? There's like trillions in the Milky Way alone. And how many galaxies are there? I mean, it's mind-boggling the number of stuff that God brings about. I mean, how many ants are there in the world?
Them and stars are about the same.
Huh?
Them and stars are about the same.
It's just amazing. How many grains of sand are there on a beach? God overdoes everything. You know what's really interesting? So, like, if you go to a culture, a country where there's old stuff, where there's ruins. So, like, did you go through places in Italy where there were ruins?
Yeah, like Pompeii and Herculaneum.
Well, mostly out in the country.
Yeah.
And what happens to the ruins?
It's fall apart and then people take everything.
No. They don't just fall apart. This green stuff,
Oh yeah, nature takes them over. Yeah.
you better believe it.
Really fast.
Yeah. You know, you think a wrecking ball is powerful. Moss does it too.
Yeah.
And can bring down monuments. Nature's capacity for creation and destruction. Amazing. It's amazing. And a human being is made in the image and likeness of God, such that to a limited degree as an individual, we reenact the creative process. All human accomplishment comes about initially sankalpena, by means of intention, by means of imagination. All right, next verse.
सर्वत्रेक्षणशक्ताढ्यम् सर्वतो घ्राणशक्तिक्रम् सर्वतः स्पर्शसंयुक्तम् सर्वतो रसनान्वितम् सर्वत्र श्रवणाकीर्णम् सर्वत्र मननान्वितम् सर्वतो मननातीतम् सर्वत्र परमं शिवम् इति संचित्य देवेशम् अर्चयेत् विधिवत्सततः. Having contemplated the divine Lord as possessing abundantly the power of seeing everywhere, having the power of smell on all sides, endowed with the sense of touch everywhere, possessed of taste all around, full of the sense of hearing everywhere, endowed with thinking everywhere, beyond thinking or cognition all around, and the supreme bliss or auspiciousness everywhere, let one worship him then according to rules.
According to rules?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea here is everything everywhere is illumined by, exists because of, and is known by consciousness. Do you see the bowl on the table? It is Brahman functioning through your subtle intellect, through your mind, through the senses that makes contact with the bowl. The knower of the field in all fields, as Krishna says in Gita. Now, knowing the fundamental sacredness of everything, some scriptures will say no ritual is ever enjoined on a jnani. She doesn't have to never has to go to church, never has to do puja, never has to chant a mantra, doesn't even have to meditate. But let me frame it this way. The seeker, the sadhak, does spiritual practices so that he may purify his mind and realize the self. A woman of steady wisdom may also be seen to be doing spiritual practices. It does not add to her knowledge. It's the highest form of worldly pleasure. So I was talking with a student on the phone, and he was reading these capstone texts like Ashtavakra Gita and Avadhuta Gita, which basically tell, what are you meditating for? What do you think you're going to get? You are the self. And of course, okay, I'm not going to meditate anymore. And sure enough, he quit practicing, and the next thing you know, his knowledge didn't go away, but his bliss sure did. He found himself reacting to the world. He wasn't happy. Oh, you just need to tune up your mind. You know what to do. Vivekavayanagyaccha. And many of you who've gone on these long, long retreats, come back, I'll ask the question, do you know more self? Oh, Jim. But you may have cleaned out a lot of the cobwebs. You may have a more sattvic mind. You will enjoy your life more. Does this make sense? Now, what you choose to do to revel in the self, knock yourself out. Swami Tejamayananda, even though he's a great Vedantin, well, the secret is he's an old mushy bhakta. He's up there in the front after he's given a discourse. Out comes the harmonium and singing away, Swamiji, oh no, reveling in the halls of Vedanta. Swamitapovanam, wandering in the Himalayas, reveling in the beauty of nature. Each person finds their own methodology to revel in the self. You may be very simple and just enjoy deep meditation. Ramana Maharshi, hours just lying down on the sofa in the satsang hall, just lost in samadhi. worshiping the self in the way that is appropriate for them. And it's not one size fits all. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Swasan vidatma devoyam nopaharena pujyate nityam aklesha labhyena bodhena svena pujyate. This deity, who is of the nature of one's own consciousness, is not worshipped by ceremonial offerings. He is worshipped by one's own perception or knowledge, which is always obtainable without trouble.
Yes. Meaning, once you get, it's yourself. So I always wonder when someone says, "Oh, I've had an experience of the self." Are you having it now? Oh no, Jim, I lost it. Then they don't get it. They had some experience, thank you God. But when you see it's yourself, when are you ever not you? Who sees the phone? I do. That's yourself. How can you lose yourself? Oh, but I got so triggered. You're attached and identified. Get over it. But you haven't lost the self. It's always here. It's always you. And it's nature. It's Satchidananda. You always are. You always shine as knowing Chit. And you are the fountainhead, the wellspring, the source of all happiness. Even the little bit of juice you get through a sense object is really nothing but yourself. Next verse.
Bahya sampujanam proktam etat uttamamatmanah idanim sampravakshyeham anta pujanamatmanah. This is called the highest external worship of the self. Now I shall describe the internal worship of the self.
So I was so taken by this experience. We were up at Krishnalaya and we were sitting outside on the lawn because Swamiji would come in the summers. And Swamiji was a diabetic. He was an insulin dependent diabetic, so he wasn't supposed to eat sweets. Someone brought him one of those little, like they hand out at Halloween, a little Hershey. It looked like a little tiny miniature Hershey bar. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the great discourses on Vedanta, he stops. And it folds the chocolate. Then went back to the discourse. Vishayananda. He was going to have chocolate. He was going to do it consciously. Nothing else exists but the bliss chocolate. Such a teaching on how to enjoy the world because it's full of the bliss of Brahman. But, this is a big but, if you begin to think the pleasures in the object, it will leave a vasana. And then you're going to want to keep repeating that experience. And then you're caught up in the K. Kama, craving, karma, and impelled into action to try to get the juice. And it's always finite and temporary. Krodha. Do not. What was the poem that you and Lloyd read last night about don't go back to sleep?
Yeah,
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. All right, next one.
Nityameva sharirastham imam dhyayet param shivam swadehe samvida bhaso devoyam iti bhavayet. Let one meditate on this supreme spirit or Shiva who is ever abiding in the body. Let him consider this splendor of pure consciousness in his own body as the deity.
Yes, so it's not like that there's a spirit in there someplace. It's not geographically located in the body. It means right here, right now, while I'm a human being. I don't have to wait till I die. I can worship Shiva, which the other meaning of Shiva is auspiciousness. That self in me is, again, the fountainhead, the wellspring, the source of all happiness. It gets momentarily occluded from my mind when the mind is caught up in its extroversion. Just like it seems like the clouds obscure the sun. From the viewpoint of the sun, nothing's happening. Oh, the sun came out finally. No, the sun didn't do anything. The cloud went bye-bye. Stop the stupidity of the mind, and the bliss of the self is evident. Next one.
Nashtam nashtam upeksheta praptam upaharet nirvikara tadhi paramarchanam. Let him disregard whatever is lost and receive or accept whatever has arrived disinterestedly. This indeed is the highest worship of the self.
Yes, this samadrishta, this equality of vision, this santosha, this contentment, understanding fundamental impermanence of all name and form. Bye-bye. And doesn't mean we don't enjoy what comes, but it's all on loan from the infinite. None of it belongs to me. It's all so temporary. If you've ever had a chance to journey towards dying with someone, frequently people who've been given a terminal diagnosis of months or something like that. Anybody had a friend or a parent who's gone through that, one of the things that can happen is all of a sudden they start to cherish the moments of life. Clear knowledge. Just may be the last time I ever see spring in Golden Gate Park. Oh, this may be the last time I'm able to go to Berkeley Rep. You never know. And you and I miss that vividness of life, which the dying get to experience. Any thoughts on this? Next verse. Oops, no, we're out of time. Here. What verse we on for next time?
37, 38.
Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namah. Hari Om.